Good everyone, welcome to today's video, and today we have a review on the PBM-1 Mariner. Now, of course, I have been a little bit behind in terms of doing these Spade reviews, but PC issues can't really be helped, so I apologize, but that's the only thing I can really say, because things happen, I'm afraid. And I wanted to get these done originally around about Christmas time, but of course, that's when my PC played up, and I was out of action for about a month and a half, so I do apologize for the delay. So, this is something that normally people would say Joe's gonna absolutely love this thing. He loves seaplanes, he loves aircraft armed with 50 cals, and he's bloody good with the gunners. Yeah, not this thing. I'm sorry to say, but I did not have a pleasant time with this aircraft. Now, of course, there've been their fair share of YouTubers doing videos on this aircraft where they get kill after kill after kill. I can assure you that is complete bollocks because I bet you they spend hours doing that shit because trust me, it is not that simple as you might think. Trust me, I'd know. The problem is with the Mariner, and I know this sounds funny, is actually its battle rating. Now I know what you're thinking. It's got roughly, it's only about 40 miles an hour faster than a Catalina. It's got better gunners than the Catalina. Why is the battle rating a problem? I'll give you a couple of answers for that. Number one, Yak 9s. They'll mess you up. Number two, BF-109 E4s, F1s, etc. They'll mess you up, because you ain't got no armor. And three, Sweden. Big Sven, Little Sven, the B-18s. Yeah, I think you can guess where this is going. This thing gets pretty much nothing but up tiers, and it is freaking horrible. I've not had so much a rough spade of a bomber in quite a long time, to put it simply. And it pains me to say it, but I actually don't think this aircraft is worth playing. If you really want to play a seaplane bomber, play a Catalina, because you don't get up tiered anywhere near as often or anywhere near as harshly as you do with this thing. Because every single match was an up tier in this aircraft, and it was horrible. But anyway, I'll spare you the, shall we say, I'll spare you the description of how my matches went. I'll save that for the table, which you'll see shortly. In terms of engine power, you've got two Wright R2600 14-cylinder radials with 1600 horsepower on maximum WEP and 1350 without WEP. They're pretty alright. They propel the aircraft quite nicely. It can fly on one engine perfectly fine, so I've never really had issues with the engines themselves, although they are a bit flammable. That's about the only problem. In terms of gunnery positions, you are armed with five 50 caliber machine guns of various different ammunition capacity. You've got a nose turret here, you've got two side turrets here, you've got a dorsal turret here, and you've got a tail gunner here. In terms of best coverage, I would arguably say it's the dorsal turret, because if you look at the tail gunner's position, it is very limited, and there's quite a lot of dead zones on this aircraft, which is, as you can imagine, rather limiting, but it's at least better than the Catalina. The main area that I noticed where the Catalina has an advantage is just under here, just underneath where the, shall we say, the hull side is, because there's no gunner around about here. There is one here, but it can't go all the way down. Now, of course, this thing does have better coverage than the Catalina, which I have to give it credit for, but as I said, that's not really going to make a difference when your gunners die in 2 seconds from a big Sven. So yeah. Sorry to sound a little negative about this plane, but I just didn't have fun with it, and I just didn't like it that much. In terms of armor, you have none, so don't try and rely on that. And in terms of belts, of course, you always use universal on 12.7 turrets. And in terms of bomb load, this is where this thing does start to get a little, shall we say, interesting. You start out with 12 100-pounders, which are perfectly adequate if you're carpet bombing or taking out half a base. It can kill a base, but you need to drop the whole lot. Then you have 2 1,000-pound bombs and 4 500-pound bombs. Pretty good. 4 1,000-pound bombs, which drop individually, so these are going to be great for tank RB. You then have 6 500-pound bombs and 6 250-pound bombs. The bomb loads are fine. I have no issue with a bomb load. I use the 4 1000s. I know people will say, oh, use this one because it's got better overall bomb load. Yeah, you can do. It's really your personal preference. But like I said, I just did not have fun with this aircraft. I just didn't. Constant full up tiers and just not very exciting matches, really. The match I'm going to show you today is the most exciting one I had, and that's only because I didn't go for bases because I got nicked. That's another flaw. This thing gets up tiered where you have very fast bombers on your own team, which will then nick all your bases, and there's not really a lot you can do about it. But anyway, we'll go to my desktop, take a look at the table, and see how this went. I think we should, just to try and get my point across about this thing being a bit poor at its current PR. I'll see you all in a minute. Well, join me on my desktop. As you can tell, we are on. Well, we've only got 6 battles to discuss here. And you'll notice in the death section, there's a lot. Yeah, this was not fun at all. So first match was 0 air kills, 0 ground kills, 0 assists. I did die, 371 at SL, 361 RP, no base bombing done. Battle 2, 0 air kills. Do I need to continue? You can just see here. Yes, I did die in that match. 2,344 silver lines, 816 RP, and 0.234 of tonnage dropped. Battle 3, which is what you're going to see today. 3 air kills, no ground kills, no assists. I did die. 13,421 silver lines, 872 RP. No base bombs done because they got nicked. Battle 4, 1 air kill, 2 ground kills, 0 assists. Didn't die. 8,619 silver lines, 831 RP. 0.184 base bombs dropped. Battle 5 was nothing in the first 3. I did die. 3,504 silver lines, 367 RP. 0.72 base bombs dropped. Well, tonnage dropped. And Battle 6, which is the final match to Spade the aircraft. Nothing in the first 3. I did die. 1,956 silver lines, 198 RP. And just 0.234 base bomb done. This was disappointing, as you can imagine. As someone that really enjoys seaplanes as a whole, and going to this, I'm disappointed to say the least. You know when you've spent so much time playing Catalinas, like the Russian Catalina, the British Catalina for premium reviews, and you go to this? Yeah, it's got better gunners, but better gunners don't mean anything if you can't really do anything about it. Anyway, let's go take a look at Battle 3 and see how that went, and I can point out some of the unique factors about this aircraft, but also some of the major flaws. I'll see you all in a couple. Well, welcome to the match. Here you can see I'm with Bertie, Flight, and Bullseye Pete. Even having those 3 didn't help. This is just how it was for this plane though, sadly. So as you can tell, maximum up tier 3.0, and around about this moment I call left hand base at F6. The problem is, there's a Havoc who likes to base steal. Yeah, I think you can guess where this is going. Now at this point in the Spade, I was only about less than a quarter spaded, which gives you just of an idea how low in the Spade I was after 3 matches. This match got me quite a lot of upgrades, but even then, So since I'm going to probably have some people die of boredom because of how slow this thing is, I'm going to put it at 8 times speed just to get us across a bit. So now A20 is going to steal my base, and well, there's not a lot I can do about it really. And this is just life of a mariner in a full up tier, unfortunately. So here I decided to just drop the whole payload on those ground targets just to get rid of it, just to lighten the load. And there are a couple of benefits that this aircraft has over a Catalina. One, its roll rate, it's got a surprisingly good roll rate. And two, its maneuverability. This thing for its size is surprisingly maneuverable. But here we're going to get into some trouble with the gunners. Now of course, you may not notice it, but the cursors themselves where the gunners are actually pointing are a bit offset from your mouse. That's one thing I noticed, and that's what really drives the point home across that yes, you have more gunners and better gunners than a Catalina, but realistically, are they going to work as well when you can hardly aim the tail gunner that well half the time? I certainly don't think so. So obviously, with me having no bombs left, because I dropped them all on ground targets, didn't get nothing by the way, didn't even get a hit. The only thing I can really do now is try and get low and assist the team. But as you can tell with the current team composition, especially given the fact that we have 2 P40s with bombs on, this is going to be a bad match, let's put it that way. So again, just to save some of you the grey hairs, because quite a few of my audience are actually over the age of 50, surprisingly. According to my analytics, 30% of it is. I'll save you guys and girls some grey hairs, because I'm nice, and trust me, I'll be at that point soon in my life in 30 years' time. So yeah. And as you can tell, we picked up a tail. Now I think it's around about this point when the cursor starts to come into its element. Now yes, I have killed that 109, but look at the cursor. My cursor is around about here. Notice how the guns are a little bit offset. That's going to take some getting used to, let's put it that way. So we've killed the 109, and now we're going for the 112. It's a A0 model, so this one's got the anti-aircraft cannon. The one that they used in, I think it was the Spanish Civil War is what they used it for. And it was actually surprisingly good. Now of course this Key 61 doesn't help matters. And this causes me to take a lot of hits because of that Key 61 flying in where he did. As you can tell as well, my gunners have taken a major beating. But as you can tell, this thing is surprisingly maneuverable for its size. Now sure, it's no Spitfire, but it bloody feels like one. And any second now, the tail gunner manages to get a great shot in, sending the 112 on fire. And there we go, kill number 2. We actually got kind of lucky there, but I could have probably avoided at least some of the gunners dying, if not the Key 61 flying into my gunner's sight. I didn't want to team kill the Key 61 just to kill the 112. That would be a bit of a douche move by me. So we have taken a lot of damage, and now the enemy team is left with a Stuka, which I damaged earlier. He's going to end up being my 3rd kill later. We've also got a Blenheim, which is returned to base, and we've also got this Yak and a J20 just in front. Now surprisingly enough, the Kai 61 decides to ignore the Yak 1 after scoring a minor hit, and decides to leave me to handle it. I don't know why he did this, but this is actually going to end up costing me my plane. I've also lost a rudder, so this thing's going to start to feel a little bit awkward in its maneuvering now. But yeah, this isn't going to end well. I'm pouring on the pain, but surprisingly enough, that was a spark. If you would like to know what ping I had in this match, 29. That was my ping, and yet I sparked. Yeah. That's what it was like flying this thing, and it was just not a lot of fun. So here comes the J-20, arguably one of the worst planes to start grind, trust me, I know from experience. But if it's maneuverable, but the guns suck. And this is where my untimely demise is about to happen. I'm trying to get the guns back on them, but I've only got the tail gunner left alive. And at this point, I thought the J-20 was going to try and ram me, which he seemed to be trying to do. That, or he was trying to get in close. But I'm trying to jink the aircraft around because most of my gunners are dead, and the only one that's alive is the actual tail gunner himself, but he's heavily wounded. And in a second, I'm, well, yeah, disintegrated. And sadly, that is most of the matches in the Mariner for me. Now, of course, I didn't know at the time that my tail gunner was still alive, but even then, he was reloading at the time, so it wouldn't have made a difference. And that, sadly, folks, is life of a Mariner in a 3-0 match. That's what they don't show you. Now, of course, it does say 2 kills there. The Stuka does eventually end up crashing about 2 minutes later, so there's no point me skipping ahead just so you can see the 3rd kill. It does happen. But do I recommend flying this plane? I'm going to have to say no. I just don't see the point of it over a Catalina, personally speaking, because I tend to have better matches in a Catalina. And you don't get these brutal up tiers as anywhere near as often as you do in a Catalina. And I know that sounds a bit hard for me to say because obviously it's a seaplane. I love seaplanes, they're very interesting aircraft. I'm sorry to say, but this thing ain't worth anyone's time. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed today's review on the PBM-1 Mariner, and I will catch you all on the next one.